Good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a good morning so far. My name is Alan. I will be your host today, COO of ICE and faculty member for our fitness athlete division here on Thursday to talk to you all about Leadership Thursday. So some quick announcements before we get started. Jeff will be here, well not here, a couple minutes south here in Ann Arbor, Michigan next weekend for our cervical spine management course. So if you want to get more comfortable managing neck pain, learning or refining your cervical manipulation technique, that is the course for you. I will be helping him out with that course down in Ann Arbor, so I look forward to seeing some of you in person. Just worked the past couple days with our West Coast Canadian partner, AMP Physio, on bringing 4 courses out to Victoria and Vancouver, British Columbia. So we're bringing Fitness Athlete Live in February 2020, Total Spine Thrust in April 2020, Lumbar Spine Management in September of 2020, and Cervical Spine Management in November of 2020. So if you're on the West Coast, Pacific Northwest, or up in Victoria or Vancouver, check out our website or check out AMP Physio's website to sign up for those courses. Super happy to continue our partnership with AMP. Great bunch of people out there in Victoria, Vancouver holding it down for the Canadian Con Ed game. And then finally, we are bringing persistent pain management to Ontario in August of 2020. So Justin is going to do a live persistent pain course in Ontario with key clinical skills in Ontario. Sorry, got a new Whoop. It is freaking my phone out trying to connect to it. So if you're watching on Instagram, it might be a little bit choppy. So, good morning, Kelsey. So let's get started and talk about today's topic. So today's topic is ignore and outperform. It is something that I have learned from Jeff over the past couple years, something that has really started to pay off dividends for me, something he told me when I initially started to work with him and work for ICE a couple years ago, and something that I've been reflecting on a lot the past couple weeks on how important it is to develop an ignore and outperform mindset when we talk about scarcity versus growth type mindset. So let's define that before we get started, and then we'll get into ignore and outperform. So what is a scarcity mindset? We hear that a lot. We see little memes and infographics on social media about fixed versus growth mindset. So at least in my mind, scarcity mindset is the idea that there's not enough to go around of whatever, right? And when we're talking about business, we're talking about clients. In healthcare, we're talking about patients. Just not enough to go around. This belief that we always have to be competing with other folks in town, other folks in the industry, same business, same profession, for this fixed pool of whatever we're trying to work with, whether it's potential customers or patients or clients or even actual physical resources. Not enough to go around, and so we have to compete. We have to fight each other for this fixed pool and fight over the scraps, basically. We see this manifest in physical therapy in a lot of different ways. The main way I see it manifest is that when I go to your website to try and find out about you, to try and find out about your prices, you've got it all on lockdown, right? It's a secret. There's no prices listed. I can't find out about your staff, their credentials, where they went to school, or even what they like to do, right? It's all on lockdown, and there's just stuff all over your website trying to get me to give you my email, or trying to get me to call you, or even trying to get me to come physically into your clinic and sign up for something, right? Nothing for free. It's all secret. We don't want anybody to know what we're doing. You have to come in person if you're interested. You don't have online scheduling. You don't have availability of your therapist. It's all on lockdown. Some clinics do packaged visits, right? I call that the spiderweb approach. Like, we're so focused on competing and trapping somebody that once we've got them, we want them to commit to 6 visits, 12 visits, 18 visits, 24 visits, right? We have that scarcity mindset. We want to get somebody in our web and just keep them. We don't post our prices. We make people sign treatment agreements and packaged visits, and it's just very, very fixed mindset oriented. We see it manifest even within clinics, even with clinicians who are working in the same facility. people who get upset that maybe a patient wants to try out therapy with a different therapist. And we definitely see it when therapists get upset that patient goes on to have success with a different therapist, right? A different approach, different results, and we see that fixed mindset manifest that way. We see this a lot on social media. It seems like this is all we see on social media is we see this just very aggressive social media posting by PTs. We see folks calling other folks out. We see them putting them on blast, as the kids would say, calling folks out for how they're treating or the research they post. You hear stuff like manual therapy sucks, or only manual therapy works, right? These absolutes that get posted, this very, very fixed scarcity, competitive mindset, posting really anything to try and grab some portion, some audience of what is perceived to be a fixed pool of people, right? A fixed audience. And again, it's that spiderweb approach, right? We want to trap people on our web and keep them there and just appeal to a small group of people and just keep those folks trapped and continue to compete and be as aggressive and loud as we can for that fixed group. Getting people texting and messaging me. You know I'm on PT on Ice. Don't text me. Making my phone freeze up. So we see that fixed mindset. So it's that fight to be right, that fight to compete. You always have to be right. And we watch people spend minutes, hours, days, weeks, months arguing in these huge chains on social media with each other over this fight to be right, this fight to be competitive, and try and grab a portion of what's perceived to be a very limited pool of resources. And we know that if we look at the data that we're fighting for really a very small pool of people, we know that only 7 to 10% of people seek out physical therapy. So we know that the pool is much, much huger than we ever perceive. And so we have to adopt a growth mindset, right? We have to incorporate and cooperate and allow access to that larger pool of people that we know is out there, right? Being aggressive and being competitive for a very small portion is self-limiting, right? You are limiting yourself. You're only ever going to attract the population of people who are interested in seeing really aggressive and mean social media posts, right? You'll never reach the rest of the folks who don't want to see that. You are self-limiting yourself. So what are some good ways to develop those partnerships? I think that just having a good relationship with the other clinics in town is a great way to start, right? You should have some reciprocal referral relationships, not just to physician groups or surgeon groups or gyms, but other PT clinics, right? You should know where to send somebody if they are coming to you for pelvic floor physical therapy and you don't offer it, right? That fixed mindset tells us that we just keep that person and try some stuff and hope it works, right? Because we don't want this person to leave our clinic. They've somehow stumbled in our web and we want to keep them in our web versus having a place to know where to send those folks. I think of us here at ICE, we often get asked, hey, when are you all going to come up with a dry needling course? And the answer is never. We have no interest in developing that course or offering courses in dry needling. And so we send folks to other companies that we have good relationships with, right? We send folks to folks like Mark Milligan, and we send folks to Kineticor and other groups that we have good relationships with, rather than trying to half-ass do some dry needling coursework or send them some research or something, rather than trying to trap them in our web, having that relationship and sending them elsewhere. So that's a good example of a growth mindset. That goes beyond just PT practice too, right? You can be more community oriented. You can be more business oriented to other businesses in your community. Zach Long talks a lot about this at the end of our Fitness Athlete Advanced Concepts course about how to develop relationships with CrossFit gyms, and something he says is, hey, when you go drop in at a gym when you're out of town traveling, leave them a super nice review, or even if you just go to a different gym in town, leave them an awesome review on social media. Tell them that you had a great experiences and the coaches knew their stuff, and leave them a good review, and create that and facilitate that incorporation and cooperation without expecting anything in return. That's kind of the basis of a growth mindset. And we do that here at ICE, or at least we try to do. We try to promote what you all are doing out there with the stuff we've taught you rather than just always promoting the stuff that we teach, right? We think that's a lot more powerful if we promote what you guys are doing. When you guys post your remoms and you share the stuff you're learning and the stuff you're doing based on what you've learned from our courses, we'd much rather promote that than just show you ICE faculty doing stuff, right? That's not as powerful. That's not as growth-oriented to always just be showing ourselves. We want to show you all off. So another way to show off growth mindset. So moving from the definition of growth versus fixed or scarcity mindset, we get into this concept of ignore and outperform. So this is from Jocko Willink. If you're not listening to the Jocko podcast, you should. It's a real good kick in the teeth. As far as, I won't call it motivation, I'll call it maybe discipline listening. So from Jocko, ignore and outperform, and it's something Jeff said to me many years ago, because I used to be that guy. I used to be that guy that would see a post on social media and I would just have to respond, right? I had to be right. They were wrong. I had to be right. I had to respond. And I would spend a long time and a lot of time writing a response and getting into these internet arguments. And Jeff would always hammer to me, hey, you have to ignore and outperform, right? You can't spend your time responding to all of those posts. It's not the best use of our time. It's very easy to run into conflict, especially on social media. If you look hard enough, you'll find a post that makes you upset, right? A post that is attacking your beliefs or bias, whether it's perceived or it's actually attacking you. There are accounts that are attacking people personally and calling them out. So whether it's perceived or real, you'll find a post that attacks you. Recognize that it's normal to have that reaction, right? We're all just monkeys trying to get back to our tree at the end of the day. It's normal to see something like that and have an emotional reaction, and just recognize that you're going to have a reaction, but also recognize that the best reaction is to have no reaction, right? So when we're starting out as clinicians, when we're starting out as business owners, nobody knows who we are. With our practice, with our business, whatever we're doing, nobody knows who we are. But eventually we get noticed. And even with the smallest amounts of success, other clinics in town might start to post stuff about us. Other gyms in town might start to post stuff about our gym. They might even start to run ads about how they're different than us, even though we may have even never interacted with these folks. And so that you start to see that competitive mindset, that growth versus fixed mindset play out as folks start to see your success and recognize that you're taking people away from the web that they've got them in, and they start to post negative stuff. So we start to see accounts of people putting folks on blast on social media for using manual therapy, literally calling out individual clinicians for using manual therapy, saying, hey, this person is using manual therapy, they don't know what they're doing, don't go see them. We see stuff like that with advertisements in town with clinics where they start to run ads against other clinics, and we just see this competitive, this fixed mindset start to manifest in a really nasty way. So recognize that the natural reaction to that is to have a reaction, but that's really illogical. Remember what got you to the point that folks started to notice you and feel almost personally attacked by your success was not reacting to those posts. It was to do hard work and be a good clinician and serve patients well. What got you to the point that you got noticed was not spending your time on social media arguing with those folks, right? What got you to that point was hard work. And so that's the basis of ignore and outperform. Something that initially Jeff, and we don't have to have this conversation too much anymore. I've grown a lot. I've matured a lot. But something Jeff always used to ask me was, hey, is that the best use of your time to support ICE, to help ICE grow? Is that the best use of your time to grow as a clinician? And if you're responding to those posts, or you're writing a counter post, or you're thinking about how to respond to that advertisement, or whatever you are feeling attacked by when somebody is starting to maybe get a little bit negative, the answer to that question is probably always no. That's not the best use of my time. Is writing an Instagram post in response the best use of my 20 minutes? Was that time spent going to further my practice? Is it going to further my clinic? Is it going to further my business? Is it going to help my family Or even, is it going to help my fitness? The answer to that question is always no. So what else could you do with that 20 minutes? You could do a lot, right? You could text 5 patients and see how they're doing and check on their home exercise program and maybe give them some new stuff to do. You could film yourself doing a corrective exercise, talk about nutrition or sleep, and put it on your social media rather than responding. You could take a deep dive into a research article you've been putting off reading. You could even just go out into the gym and crush some weights or hit a Metcon or something and work out. There are an infinite number of ways that you could spend that time better than responding, right? And that's the basis of ignore and outperform, right? You see that stuff, yes, you'll have a reaction, but the best thing to do is to understand that, yes, I'm going to have a reaction, but then to have no reaction and kind of create a habit in your mind that your reaction becomes to just work harder, right? Because that's what got you to the place that you're at in the first place is hard work, right? Stay in your lane and drive fast. Don't spend any time responding to that stuff. So continue working hard, right? That's what got you on somebody's radar in the first place. Keep pushing down that lane. Don't get out of your lane. So let that fundamental reaction become ignore and outperform. And that basically translates into outwork everybody else, right? Work so hard that other people are embarrassed by your hard work. And what you actually start to do is you create a cycle where when you are pursuing that, the people that are talking about you continue to spend their time trying to talk about you, and you're spending more and more time outworking them, and they're spending more and more time talking about you and not working, right? And so now you can see how those paths are going to start to diverge, where they're spending less time on the stuff they need to spend on, and you're spending more time on the stuff you need to spend your time on, and you'll reach a critical flip factor there where their success starts to go downhill, yours starts to skyrocket, and you may even see them start to lose business or go out of business, which is maybe not fun to laugh at, but it kind of is, right? Because success is the best revenge, right? And through doing absolutely nothing, not even responding to them, of course you'll see it, right? It's 2019, you're on social media, you'll see that stuff. But through doing no direct action, not responding, not writing counter responses, just not giving any of your time to that negative stuff and just pursuing ignore and outperform, you'll see your success increase and theirs go down significantly. And we find that success is the best revenge, right? Every time they're spending time to attack you through whatever medium they choose, you just choose to ignore and outperform. Let that become your fundamental reaction. That gets you that much further ahead. Eventually that gap becomes so wide that it can't be closed, right? You'll see your competitor lose business. You'll see your competitor go out of business, and you've done absolutely nothing to contribute to that other than to stick to what you know and work really, really hard. And that's the reward of ignore and outperform. It seems tough in the beginning, right? And I think it's a good parallel to rehab itself, right? We always ask patients to just trust the process and trust that what they're pursuing will get them better. Billy, don't text me. I know you're watching this. I can see you're watching this. Don't text me. So trust the process, right? Commit to it and know that it will have, we don't know exactly when, but it will pay off, right? Just like when we get patients in the clinic and we start to load them, we don't know exactly when the flipping point is that they're going to wake up without pain, but we know it's going to happen, right? We know that if we commit to the work and trust the process, it will pay off. And so treat your clinical growth in the same way. Ignore and outperform. Just work as hard as you can. Focus on your own performance, your own outcomes, your own clinic's excellence, your business. Focus on your patients, your customers, your clients, and they'll naturally find the way to you and not to your competitor without you even acknowledging that your competitor is your competitor, right? You don't even have to run that race. You just do what you've always been doing, and you'll see those two paths diverge naturally. So wrapping up here, I know I went a little bit long, but understand that it's natural reaction to want to respond to criticism and respond with that kind of same aggressive fixed mindset response that is being used against you. But challenge yourself to just ignore it. You're going to see it, of course. It's natural to see it, but just ignore it. Challenge yourself to see it, recognize it, and think, okay, I'm upset. Why am I upset? Is my bias being challenged? Who knows? Is that even relevant? But what can I do with what I'm feeling right now. I can write a really angry post or make my own post, or I can spend that 20, 30 minutes and do something that's going to benefit my clinic, my patients, my business. So before you open your phone, before you start to type that response on Instagram, just ask yourself, is this the best way I could be spending my time? And just know that deep down inside, that answer is no. And recognize that with anything we do in life, success takes time. Put in the work, trust the process, and just know that success is the best revenge, right? Jeff and I had this conversation a week ago about something we saw on social media, and I said, man, the best thing you have ever taught me is ignore and outperform. That's probably the best thing I've learned from you and your mentorship to me over the past couple of years. Just watching somebody blow up on social media, somebody that maybe a few years ago I would have responded to and got in an argument with, and just watching this person implode on social media and having spent no time responding or doing anything to it, and just watching that the natural course of a fixed mindset is that it's a short life cycle, right? You don't get far. You get a short distance very fast with a fixed mindset, but then because it's a fixed mindset, you hit your plateau, right? And so you watch people hit these plateaus with the way they run their business because they're spending so much time not doing what they need to do to make their business grow, right? They're spending their time making aggressive posts on social media and running competitive ads and just doing the wrong thing that's going to make their clinic successful. So that's the base of ignore and outperform. I hope that helps a little bit. Sometimes folks send us social media posts and they say, why haven't you guys written a response to this? Why haven't you commented on this? And that's just not our game, right? Ignore and outperform. We see that stuff and it just passes right over us, and we're just going to stay in our lane and drive fast, as Jeff would say. So try it out. The next time you see something that challenges you on social media, or something you read in the paper or something that gets you fired up and you feel like you have to respond, just challenge yourself to take a second, calm down, and ask yourself, what is the best way that I can spend the 20 minutes that I would have spent responding to this or making my own post? Is there something better I could be doing? Could I make a video for my clinic page? Could I reach out to a patient and follow up? The answer is always going to be yes to that question. So try that out. Let me know how it goes for you. We will see you all next weekend if you're coming down to Ann Arbor with Jeff for cervical spine. Other than that, have a great weekend. Have a great Thursday. Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.